I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like, everybody they tiptoe around with this social media, but what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequence.
The air outside the courthouse was thick with tension. Dozens of cameras clicked, voices from reporters overlapped, and people crowded near the steps, waiting to capture every second. Nobody expected what would happen next, but in a matter of seconds, the world would be talking about one moment. Aaron Pierre's hand flying across Iman Shumpert's face. The sound of the slap cut through the noise like thunder. The crowd gasped, phones shot up higher, and even the paparazzi froze, stunned at what they had just witnessed. For a second, time stood still, and then chaos erupted. Teyana Taylor's voice pierced the madness as she screamed, begging them to stop, her hands outstretched, tears already forming. That moment changed everything. But how did it get to this point? To understand the weight of what happened, you have to rewind to the courtroom only minutes earlier. Inside, the energy was no different. It was suffocating, heavy, and charged with resentment. Iman sat stiff in his chair, his eyes locked on the table, jaw clenched so tightly that it looked like he was grinding his teeth into dust. Across from him, Aaron sat in silence, his face unreadable, but his presence was enough to fuel the fire. Everyone could feel it. Two men with too much pride and too much pain, stuck in the same room, forced to hear their names dragged across court documents, gossip, and testimony. And right between them was Teyana, sitting with her head low, trying to hold herself together as her life was ripped apart piece by piece. The arguments were brutal. Lawyers spoke about custody, about money, about parenting. But beneath all the legal terms was something far uglier. Accusations of betrayal, whispers of broken trust, and the shadow of Aaron's growing role in Teyana's life. Every time Aaron's name came up, Iman's body stiffened, his breathing heavier. Every glance from Aaron felt like a challenge, and every second Teyana avoided eye contact with her ex made the wound deeper. The courtroom wasn't just a legal battleground, it was a war zone for their emotions. When the judge dismissed the session, the three of them walked out into a sea of flashing lights. The atmosphere outside wasn't any better. Reporters screamed questions about the case, about custody, about Aaron and Teyana. Cameras followed their every step. Iman tried to ignore them, walking fast, his eyes straight ahead, but Aaron wasn't letting him walk past without a word. It started small. Aaron leaned slightly in his direction, muttering something low, something sharp enough to stop Iman dead in his tracks. Nobody heard the exact words, but they were enough to make Iman's face change instantly. And then it escalated. The whispers turned into heated words, too loud to ignore. Paparazzi closed in, sensing the storm was about to break. Both men squared off, shoulders tense, their voices cutting through the noise. Iman's frustration boiled over, his hands gesturing wildly, while Aaron stood firm, his body language taunting, like he wanted this moment. Teyana's voice cut in, trying to calm them, but it was like shouting into a hurricane. The crowd could feel it coming before it even happened. And then it did. Aaron's hand came out of nowhere, fast and deliberate, striking Iman across the face. The crack echoed across the parking lot. Iman staggered back, one hand rising to his cheek, shock written across his face. The crowd gasped. Some screamed. A few even cheered, as if they were watching a fight they had paid to see. Phones captured every second, dozens of angles ready to be replayed, dissected, and turned into viral headlines. For a moment, Iman didn't respond. He stood there, frozen, his pride wounded, his body shaking with rage. Everyone waited for him to swing back, to return the blow, but instead, his pain came out another way. His voice cracked as he shouted, his words spilling into the air with raw emotion. He accused Aaron of destroying his family, of stepping into a home that was already falling apart, and twisting the knife even deeper. His voice wasn't just angry, it was broken. The kind of voice that comes from a man who's lost more than he can carry. The kind that made even the loudest reporters fall silent for a moment. And then came Teyana. She pushed her way between them, her hands on both their chests, her voice trembling but strong. "Stop," she screamed, her words echoing over the chaos. "You're tearing everything apart. The kids are watching." Her voice cracked as the weight of the moment crushed her. She wasn't just begging them to stop fighting each other. She was begging them to stop destroying everything she had tried to hold together. For a brief second, even Aaron's hardened expression softened, but the damage was already done. That was the moment Clarissa Shields rushed out from the courthouse doors. She had been there quietly supporting Teyana during the hearing, but when she saw the chaos outside, she couldn't stay silent. She stormed into the middle of it all, her presence instantly commanding. She shoved Aaron back, glaring at him with a mix of anger and disappointment. She turned to Iman, her voice fierce, telling him not to give Aaron the satisfaction of dragging him lower. Her tone cut through the madness, and for a moment, the entire crowd listened. Clarissa wasn't just a friend, she was a force, and she made it clear that this spectacle had gone far enough. By the time security arrived, it was too late to contain the damage. The videos were already online, spreading like wildfire across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Headlines lit up within minutes. Aaron Pierre slaps Iman Shumpert. Teyana screams as fight erupts. Clarissa Shields breaks up brawl. Everyone had an opinion. Some defended Aaron, saying Iman had provoked him first. Others said Aaron crossed a line and exposed his true character. Memes were created within hours, turning a painful moment into internet entertainment. And in the middle of it all was Teyana, the woman whose life was now being debated by millions of strangers. Iman left the scene without throwing a punch, but witnesses later said he was shaking, tears in his eyes, humiliated in front of the world. Friends close to him claimed that when he got into his car, he broke down completely, his pride shattered, his pain finally spilling out. For him, it wasn't just a slap, it was the symbol of everything he had lost. His marriage, his family, his reputation. And now, the world had seen him broken in a way he couldn't hide. Aaron, on the other hand, left in a separate car, unbothered, even smirking at some cameras. Sources claimed he told friends later that he was just protecting Teyana, that he wasn't going to let Iman intimidate her anymore. To him, the slap wasn't an accident, it was a statement. But whether it was bravery or recklessness, the world wasn't sure. Teyana's face that day said more than any statement ever could. It was a face torn between anger, pain, and sheer desperation, a woman caught in the crossfire of two men who once meant everything to her. Her hands trembled as she reached out, trying to physically and emotionally hold back a storm that had been brewing for far too long. Her voice cracked with the weight of everything left unsaid, every sleepless night, every broken promise. And then the tears came, unfiltered, unstoppable, as she stood between Aaron and Iman, two men who represented very different parts of her life, now threatening to destroy each other in a moment of rage. That scene in the courthouse parking lot wasn't just dramatic, it was unforgettable. Cameras flashed, bystanders gasped, security rushed in. But it was Teyana, standing in the middle, trying to stop the chaos, who became the symbol of the emotional toll this entire ordeal has taken. Because it wasn't just about a slap or a shouting match. It was about the years of love, betrayal, pride, and pain finally erupting in public. The mask cracked, the private became painfully public, and the world watched as personal tragedy unfolded like a movie scene. What makes that moment even more haunting is what it represents. Teyana wasn't just trying to stop a fight, she was trying to hold together the pieces of a life that's been steadily falling apart. The woman who once had it all, fame, love, a family, was now left trying to stop everything from collapsing in front of her. That image of her, caught in the middle, will live on in headlines, in social media clips, and in the minds of those who witnessed it. A raw, real moment in a saga that's become increasingly surreal. And if that's what happened outside the courtroom, under the sky, in front of flashing cameras and onlookers, just imagine what's happening behind closed doors. The secrets, the strategies, the whispered conversations between lawyers, the late-night phone calls, the emotional unraveling. This is no longer just a legal battle. It's a slow unraveling of a world once built on love, now consumed by conflict. And with each passing day, the stakes get higher, the emotions run deeper, and the outcome becomes more uncertain.